My universal namaste to all our viewers across the globe. This is Bhavi Ram from BHF Radio London. A big welcome to all of you across the globe for joining us again. We started a series where we would be inviting guests from across the globe to share about their journey of being a Sindhi, their thoughts, their views, their love of music and art. Acho Ajbudhu from engineering consultant Ram Daryani, who is a civil engineer by trade, but writer, translator by heart. It would be a pleasure to hear his memories of Sindh, of growing up there, and of course, his favorite Sindhi music. Now, when I first got connected with Ramji, I was in search of getting to know people if they knew anything about Hatvaniki script. And from there on, he's inspired and helped me to take even my own journey to the land of our ancestors, the Sindh. Thank you, Jay. I'm indebted to you forever. Every time I have interacted with Ramji, my thirst increases more and more to know more about Sindh. There is certainly an incidental connectivity between Ramji and myself, as both of us belong to similar professional background, being civil engineers, but 3 decades apart. Certainly, civil engineering has got something artistic about it. Ramji is a very modest man with huge personal and professional achievements. He had a wonderful upbringing, being born into a family of artists. His father, Hari Daryani DILGIR, was himself a civil engineer, authored several books, and received several awards and honors. Shri Dilgir was recipient of SAHITYA Akademi Award twice. Ramji calls his father not only his guru, but a friend, which is so beautiful to know, as generally within this wonderful Sindhi community, fathers were very patriarchal and dominating personalities. We shall find out more about the relationship, how they cherished it. Ramji's mother, Nankiji, was a wonderful painter. So pleasing to know women in those times had so much to offer and were encouraged and empowered to do so within our community. Dear Ramji, welcome to our series, Sindhi Gems with Bhavi. It's an immense pleasure to have you with us, and we are so excited to have you amongst us. You have been preserving this wonderful legacy from your father, Sri Hari Daryani, in the era when there was a whole new generation who don't even speak about or don't even speak their mother tongue in Sindhi. As part of our regional languages revival, we would talk about your inspiring Sindhi journey and then enjoy the beautiful Sindhi music of your choice. To start with, please share us of your childhood in Sindh and of your moving to India. How important do you think it has been important to you to be a Sindhi? And following it, please share your favorite Sindhi song for us to play.
At the outset, namaste, salam alaikum, Ram Ram, and Haq Mawjood to all my listeners. You must have heard all other words, but Haq Mawjood might be strange to you. I am a Sindhi Sufi, and Haq Mawjood is a form of Sufi greeting. Haq Mawjood means truth prevails, and the reply to Haq Mawjood is Sada Mawjood, which means always present. So once again, Haq Mawjood to all. I was born at Larkana on 1st July 1943. I was born in a middle class family, and I was brought up by 3 sets of parents. Of course, one was my father and mother, whom I called Papa and Mummy. Then there was my grandfather and grandmother, whom I called Baba and Amma. And there was my Chacha and Chachi, whom I called Dada and Bhavi. So all these 6 persons have raised me. That is why even today in my prayer room I have pictures of these 6 great persons who are responsible for what I am today. Well, we did not migrate to India in 1947 because my grandfather flatly refused to migrate to India, and my father, being an obedient son, responded to him, and he also refused to migrate. So finally we migrated in 1958. When we migrated, I had already passed 6th English, that is 10th of today's standards, in Pakistan. And I learned Sindhi and Urdu while I did not know even K K G of Hindi. In fact, we had no difficulty in migrating to India, as many people have been saying. We were fortunate. My father was executive engineer, a highly placed man. He was executive in Sindh Irrigation Department. That is the most powerful department. And besides that, he was an honored poet in Sindh. Because of his official position and because of literary position, we had a lot of respect in the society. The first song that I have selected to be played today is a song by Master Chandar from Sindhi movie Abana, and it relates to migration. Vanyanta, Vanyanta, Ledinda Vanyanta. Kindly listen to that.
Vanyanta, Vanyanta, Udasi Vanyanta, 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 Vatan ke chadinda, chade saad sufi Vanyanta ladinda, Kendu saberi वञनि था पलींदा अल्लाह ॼाणिया करी कॾहिं मेल थींदा वतन खां जुदा थी लॾींदा वञनि था यार पखी बाग पंहिंजो छॾींदा वञनि था वो छॾींदा वञनि था है पका पुराणा है वतन जताना है मिठाया बाणा है पका पुराणा है वतन जताना है मिठाया बाणा छदे कुतब बेदिल ऐं बेकस जा डेरा छदे शाह स्वामी दलपत जा डेरा दरादन खां अॼु दूर थींदा वञनि था वो पखी बाग पंहिंजो छॾींदा वञनि था यार छॾींदा वञनि था है पका पुराणा है वतन जताना है मिठा बाणा है पका पुराणा है वतन जताना है मिठाया बाणा छदे पंज सिंधु नदीअ जा किनारा अबाणा यझाए छना प्यारा प्यारा पुराणनि पखनि खे पटींदा वञनि था वो पखी बाग पंहिंजो छॾींदा वञनि था यर छॾींदा वञनि था है पखा पुराणा है वतन जताना है मिठा बाणा है पखा पुराणा है वतन जताना है मिठा बाणा छॾे ज़िंदह पीरोई सखर साध बेलो बसन घोटरो हल पारू शाह जमेलो जुदाई संदो दाग ॾींदा वञनि था ओ पखी बाग पंहिंजो छॾींदा वञनि था यर छॾींदा वञनि था है पखा पुराणा है वतन जथाणा है मिठा बाणा है पखा पुराणा है वतन जथाणा है मिठा बाणा है मिठा बाणा है मिठा बाणा है मिठा बाणा.
Thank you, Ramji. I always wondered, how did your father start writing as he was a technical man and again yourself? When did you think you would be writing? Now, certainly, when you were growing up, please to share about your family conversations about the land of Sindh. And there must have been some conversations you had with your parents. There must be a lot of moments of sharing about Sindh. It would be a pleasure to hear those memories. And of course, we would cherish if you could suggest the music of your choice to play as well.
And my father started writing poetry while he was 13 years of age. His mentor was the famous poet Kishan Chand Bewas. And one of his poems was published in a local newspaper, which came to notice of another great poet, Nawaz Ali Niaz. When Nawaz Ali Niaz saw this poem, he was impressed, and he came to our house and told my father that he wants to polish his poetry. So Nawaz Ali Niaz is the person who taught the art of prosody, that is the meters and kafiya and all that. So my father considers Kishan Chand Bewas as his guru, and he always calls Nawaz Ali Niaz as his ustad. The engineering came much later. In fact, my father never wanted to be an engineer. But when he finished his intermediate, then the question came, after this what? So my grandfather went to our guru. Our guru is Fakir Ghulam Ali of Kennedy Dargah. So Fakir Sahab laughed and said, "Bhai ina ke engineer tha na, asane zamunan ke pani ker dido." So that was a command. So my father was made to study engineering. So he became an engineer by the command of our guru. Regarding my writing and my translation, I started this way back in about 2004 or 2005 as a hobby, and till now also it is a hobby. I have translated at least 10 books. Rather, 10 books are published, and I have not charged even a rupee to anyone for my translation. In 2004, a friend of mine gave me a Sindhi book, volume 2 of Yoga Vasisht. I read that book and I was greatly impressed. Then I started looking for other volumes. In fact, Yoga Vasisht has 4 volumes of 250 to 300 pages each. Somehow I managed to get the other 3 parts from Institute of Sindhology. After I completed reading all the 4 parts, I found that it is a fantastic book which contains all the modern science and modern knowledge. Things like plate tectonic theory, Big Bang theory, and several other modern theories. Then I started searching the net to see if there's the English version of Yoga Vasisht. But I could not get an authentic Yoga Vasisht. They were all abridged and something like that. But real translation was not there anywhere. Hence a thought came to my mind, why not to translate this Sindhi book into English? So in 2005, I started translating this into English. And that is how my journey for translating books started. I have translated 1 volume of Yoga Vasisht, first volume. After that, there is something called a writer's block. So I got it, then I gave it up. After that, I was invited to Bhubaneswar in 2014, I think, to receive Sahitya Akademi award on behalf of my father, which was presented posthumously for translating Shah Abdul Latif. So this was the second Sahitya Akademi award which my father received. The first was for a Sindhi poetry book, Pal Pal Jo Pal Ram, and this was the second award. After this, I started translating books regularly. The third song that I have selected today is a song by Ghanshyam Vaswani, a noted singer in India. And this song is by Sufi Saint Sachal Sarmast. He was from 1739 to 1828. This is a prayer to have mercy upon the poet, one of the most wonderful songs ever heard.
तो समझसना साए रह जे अचेश तो समझसना साए रह जे अचेश रह जे अचेश रह जे अचे रह जे अचेश रह जे अचे तो समझसना साए तो समझे सुना साए रह जे अच्छा जाना इश्क मझारू अच्छा जाना इश्क मझारू बिरहन वारा बार ओ बिरहन वारा समझसना साए रह जे अचेश रह जिए चल रह जिए तो समझी सुना साईं रह जिए चल तरफ न बेके ख्याल रंभाया 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 सदाई तार हो तो साम जिसना साईं रह जिए चल रह जिए चल रह जिए चल रह जिए तो समझी सुना साईं रह जिए चल
Thank you, Jay, for the wonderful song and so many details. Thank you so much. Now, would you be able to share with us more about the words and verses? What's it all about? And how did it come about? Please to share with us, of course, if you don't mind. And followed by the wonderful music of your choice.
You have asked me about the book Virgin Verses. This book is a journey in itself. My father passed away in 2004 and my mother passed away on 2nd June of 2008. And as it is customary on third day after her passing away, her cupboard was opened and out came a pouch, a plastic pouch containing several things. One was a photo of our Guru, a small photo of my grandfather, a photo of my father, the degree, engineering degree of my father, and besides all this, there was a small diary, handwritten diary. It was handwritten by my father and it contained about 40 poems written during the period 1938 to 1940. 1940, my father and mother got married. So, since the diary is dated 38 to 40, so this is the period, is the courtship. My father was studying engineering in Karachi and my mother was also living in Karachi with her parents. So this was the time of courtship. So these are the poems, 40 poems written by my father during that time. When I saw this diary, the first thought came to me that since these poems are unpublished, why not to get them published? And then the second thought was, why not translate this in English and publish with original Sindhi so that the younger generation also becomes aware of this sort of poetry, which is the courtship poetry of those years. My father was a poet, and in her maiden days, my mother was a painter. And there are several painters which are with us today. So I decided to include some of her paintings in the book. This book becomes a confluence of poetry and painting.
साहु तो में मुंहिंजो साहु वेह न वञ मुंहिंजा मिठा तो में मुंहिंजो साहु हाणे पूरो थिए पसाह पोइ वञण जूं वायूं कजां के वेझाई दूर के दूर भी ओडास पिरी के चढ़न न चित ते के विसरन न मूर जिए मेह कुंधी पूर तियां दिलवर को दोस्त सां वेह न वञ ओ मुंहिंजा मिठा वेह न वञ मुंहिंजा मिठा हो अञा तोसां दिल जूं ॻाल्हियूं करणियूं अथमि हो वञा तोसां दिल जूं ॻाल्हियूं करणियूं अथमि वेह न वञ मुंहिंजा मिठा वेह न वञ मुंहिंजा मिठा अञा तोसां दिल जूं ॻाल्हियूं करणियूं अथमि हो अञा तोसां
Thank you, Ramji. I don't think any of our listeners have known about this, especially courtship poetry, 1940s. That's so romantic. And if you have got younger generations listening, guys, hear our ancestors out. I'm sure our listeners would love to explore more about this book. And thanks for also publishing in English so it has reached a much wider audience. For our listeners, if you haven't read this book, please do. And if you need a copy, just send us a message and we will share with you the electronic copy, as Ramji would like to share it across the globe for all of us Sindhis and anyone else. Now, Ramji, would you be able to share with us your journey as a teenager in India? How did you fit it in? And of course, growing as an adult, there must have been occasions where you would have missed your land, your place, and please do share with us the beautiful music of your choice.
We migrated from Sindh in August 1958, exactly 15 days before General Ayub declared martial law in Pakistan. First, we settled in Pune, as all my mamas and my mother's brothers were settled in Pune. My father purchased property in Pune, and I got admission in 10th class in St. Mira's High School of Sadhu Vaswani. I did not know even alphabet of Hindi, but as I came from Sindh, I knew Sindhi and Urdu very well. Somehow I managed to pass Hindi paper with 35 marks, but overall I got first class in the SSC. My father got a job as superintending engineer in Bharat Heavy Electricals, Bhopal. But Bhai Pratap and Hundraj Dukhail, a famous poet and singer who was close friend of my father, forced my father to join as principal of engineering 2-year diploma college at Adipur. I continued to study at Pune and was living with my mama. I also studied there and completed diploma in civil engineering. My father was my teacher in the college and he was also the principal. After completing my diploma, I got admission in engineering college in Anand and completed my engineering degree. I got admission in engineering college and completed my engineering degree in 1967. After that, I immediately became a contractor in a partnership with some senior friends. And my first contract was with Military Engineer Service Puri Airport. The next song that I selected is a very famous song which almost all the Sindhis have heard. Nanguda Nemanida Jive Tive Palana, sung by Abida Parveen. My father also used to sing song very often, and I have a recording of his this song in my father's voice also.
ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤਿਵੇਂ ਪਾਲਣਾ ਨੰਗੜਾ ਨਿਮਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤਿਵੇਂ ਪਾਲਣਾ 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 ਨੰਗੜਾ ਨਿਮਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤਿਵੇਂ ਪਾਲਣਾ ਮੇਰੀ ਆਇਆ ਮੰਦੀ ਆਇਆ ਬੇਸ਼ੱਕ ਬੰਦੀ ਆਇਆ ਮੇਰੀ ਆਇਆ ਮੰਦੀ ਆਇਆ ਢਕੀ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਢੋਲਣਾ ਹੈ ਬਨ ਖੋਲਣਾ ਢਕੀ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਢੋਲਣਾ ਹੈ ਬਨ ਖੋਲਣਾ ਨੰਗੜਾ ਨਿਮਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤਿਵੇਂ ਪਾਲਣਾ ਨੰਗੜਾ ਨਿਮਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤਿਵੇਂ ਪਾਲਣਾ ਪਈਆਂ ਪਨਾਰੇ ਲਗੇ ਤੁਝ ਲਾਰੇ ਪਈਆਂ ਪਨਾਰੇ ਲਗੇ ਤੁਝ ਲਾਰੇ ਜੋਗੀ ਨਾਲ ਜਾਲਣਾ ਅਸਾਂ ਵੱਲ ਆਵਣਾ ਜੋਗੀ ਨਾਲ ਜਾਲਣਾ ਅਸਾਂ ਵੱਲ ਆਵਣਾ ਨੰਗੜਾ ਨਿਮਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤਿਵੇਂ ਪਾਲਣਾ ਨੰਗੜਾ ਨਿਮਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤਿਵੇਂ ਪਾਲਣਾ ਯਾਰ ਸਜਲ ਤਾਂ ਲਥੜ ਕਸ਼ਾਲੇ ਯਾਰ ਸਜਲ ਤਾਂ ਲਥੜ ਕਸ਼ਾਲੇ ਗੂੰਗਟ ਖੋਲਣਾ ਬਹ ਬਹ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਗੂੰਗਟ ਖੋਲਣਾ ਬਹ ਬਹ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਨੰਗੜਾ ਨਿਮਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤਿਵੇਂ ਪਾਲਣਾ ਬੇਸ਼ੱਕ ਗੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਮੈਨੇ ਹਾਂ ਮੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਬੇਸ਼ੱਕ ਗੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਮੈਲੀ ਹਾਂ ਮੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਬੇਸ਼ੱਕ ਗੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਢੱਕੀ ਮੈਡਾ ਢੋਲਣਾ ਐਬ ਨਾ ਖੋਲਣਾ ਢੱਕੀ ਮੈਡਾ ਢੋਲਣਾ ਐਬ ਨਾ ਖੋਲਣਾ ਨੰਗੜਾ ਨੇ ਮਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤਿਵੇਂ ਪਾਲਣਾ ਨੰਗੜਾ ਨੇ ਮਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤਿਵੇਂ ਪਾਲਣਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤਿਵੇਂ ਪਾਲਣਾ पनारे तेरे लगी हाँ लारे तेरे पई हाँ पनारे तेरे लगी हाँ लारे तेरे पई हाँ पनारे तेरे लगी हाँ लारे तेरे जोगी नाल जावना वल नहीं आवना जोगी नाल जावना वल नहीं आवना नंगड़ा ने माणी दा जिवें तिवें पालना नंगड़ा ने माणी दा जिवें तिवें पालना 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 नंगड़ा ने माणी दा जिवें तिवें पालना नंगड़ा ने माणी दा जिवें तिवें पालना यार सचल दे लखी कशाले यार सचल दे लखी कशाले यार सचल दे लखी कशाले घूंघट खोलना बाह बाह बोलना घूंघट खोलना बाह बाह बोलना नंगड़ा ने माणी दा जिवें तिवें पालना नंगड़ा ने माणी दा जिवें तिवें पालना 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 नंगड़ा ने माणी दा जिवें तिवें पालना नंगड़ा ने माणी दा जिवें तिवें पालना यार सचल दे लखी कशाले यार सचल दे लखी कशाले घूंघट खोलना बाह बाह बोलना घूंघट खोलना बाह बाह बोलना नंगड़ा ने माणी दा जिवें तिवें पालना नंगड़ा ने माणी दा जिवें तिवें पालना 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 नंगड़ा ने माणी दा जिवें तिवें पालना नंगड़ा ने माणी दा जिवें तिवें पालना
I really enjoyed the journey of going down the memory lane with yourself. Thank you so, so much. It's very close to my own heart as my dad took a similar journey of being a civil engineer, and hence me following in his footsteps. It's truly amazing. And certainly I enjoyed the wonderful songs you had chosen for us. Thank you, Ji, for sharing with us the wonderful voice of Shri Dilgir. We can't thank you enough. Next, please do share with us your travel experiences in Sindh. Did you ever visit it back? If there's one thing you think you miss about Sindh, what do you think it would be? And of course, your song selection for us.
No, I never visited Sindh. Though I wanted to visit Sindh, but due to political situations, I avoided it. My father also felt that it is not proper to visit Sindh for the political reasons. You asked me about the thing that I miss the most. While we were in Sindh, we used to visit Kandri, the dargah of our Guru, every year. There used to be Mela every year, exactly 10 days before Dasera. When I last visited Kandri, I was 14 years old. That is the place I would love to visit, and I am missing that place. I'll share an interesting story with you. In 1955, my grandfather passed away, and my chachi, whom I call Bhabi, came all the way from Secunderabad to Larkana to visit us. In the evening, she said that in India, we sing Aarti every evening. So we all joined her and we sang that famous Aarti, Om Jai Jagadish Hare. After a couple of days, Bhabi told my father, Bhaida hiya Aarti to muke bane ko nati. छो त हिंदीअ में आहे ऐं न ई मुंहिंजे सम्झ में ईंदी आहे हाणे तूं मूंखे सिंधीअ में आरती लिखी ॾे So within a couple of days, my father wrote a new arti, which is in Sindhi. It is a universal secular arti which can be sung by anyone, anytime. All the Daryani families sing this arti. Today I am sharing this arti with you all. This arti is sung by Muskan Kotwani of Ajmer. She is a very good singer and an upcoming singer. Please listen to this arti.
Thank you, Jay. That's wonderful. We certainly enjoyed Muskan's rendition and would invite her to sing for us as well. Now, this one is painful, but I always believe stories need to be told, as healing only begins once we acknowledge and accept. Share with us your memories about partition and its effects on the community?
We all have heard stories of hardship suffered by people while migrating from Sindh to India. But in our case, fortunately, there was no hardship whatsoever. At that time, in 1958, I was 15 years old. Hence, there was not much of mental agony. In fact, as a teenager, I was looking forward to my first travel by ship from Karachi to Bombay. I was excited. In Sindh, my father was very well placed as executive engineer in irrigation department. In those days, irrigation engineer was a very big thing. Besides that, my father was highly respected as poet. Hence, we had great respect and influence in the society. Our family was highly respected. Therefore, I am unable to say much on this subject, but surely my father used to talk a lot about his life in Sindh. The next song selected by me is a song by Professor Ram Daryani in praise of Jhulelal, Ishta Dev of Sindhis.
मुंहिंजी बेड़ी अथई विच सीर ते
मुंहिंजी बेड़ी अथई विच सीर ते
पलव पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते
पलव पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते
बासूं बासियां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते
बासूं बासियां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते
ज्योतिन वारा लाल उडेरा
ज्योतिन वारा लाल उडेरा
केई कने था तो दर भेरा
कने था तो दर भेरा
तुंहिंजी महर अमीर फ़क़ीर ते
तुंहिंजी महर अमीर फ़क़ीर ते
पलव पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते
पलव पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते
आऊं तुंहिंजी बानी तूं मुंहिंजो साईं
आऊं तुंहिंजी बानी तूं मुंहिंजो साईं
बेवाहन जो वसीलो तूं आहीं
बेवाहन जो वसीलो तूं आहीं
मां जियां थी तुंहिंजे उकीर ते
मां जियां थी तुंहिंजे उकीर ते
पलव पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते
पलव पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते
रांझन चवे हीअ आस आ मुंहिंजी
रांझन चवे हीअ आस आ मुंहिंजी
हिम्मत ॾे करियां शेवा तुंहिंजी
हिम्मत ॾे करियां शेवा तुंहिंजी
जो नाहे भरोसो शरीर ते
जो नाहे भरोसो शरीर ते
पलव पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते
पलव पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते
ओ मुंहिंजी बेड़ी अथई विच सीर ते
ओ मुंहिंजी बेड़ी अथई विच सीर ते
पलव पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते
पलव पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते
आहा बासूं बासियां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते अखो पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते गुल चाढ़ियां तुंहिंजी तस्वीर ते पलव पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर ते पलव पायां थी मां ज़िंद पीर
Thank you so much for sharing about your childhood journey in Sindh and your lifelong experiences as a Sindhi Hindu. And of course, hearing Ram Daryani ji is always a treat. As we were talking about it earlier, today our language, our culture is vanishing and becoming indigenous. People feel embarrassed to talk in their own mother tongue. and left out if they don't speak in English. How do you think we can inspire today's Sindhi youths, children, to preserve their language, their culture, their identity? And of course, we would love to play your favorite Sindhi song.
Yes, it is true that our Sindhi is slowly vanishing. But I tell you, it will never vanish as such. The problem is with us only. We do not talk in Sindhi with our children. This is the basic problem. I know several people from the world of literature who talk of preserving Sindhi, yet they talk to their children in Hindi. In our family, everyone talks in Sindhi. Even my daughter in USA talks to her children in Sindhi. Though her children do not speak in Sindhi, but they understand fully when I talk in Sindhi. When I go to some Sindhi programs, it is my observation that I see that 90% people present there are above 60 years of age. This clearly shows that Sindhi is with those people who are above 60 years of age. Youngsters have got no interest in Sindhi whatsoever. Once again, the only problem is that their parents do not talk in Sindhi to them. We are the people who are inheritors of Indus civilization. Therefore, we should take pride in calling ourselves Sindhi and talking in Sindhi. There is one Asha Chand in Dubai. I think she is a person who is taking great efforts to project Sindhi as a language.
पारे पुजाइंदो झूलेलाल पारे पुजाइंदो झूलेलाल ओ झूलेलाल मुंहिंजो डेरो लाल झूलेलाल मुंहिंजो डेरो लाल पारे पुजाइंदो अर्ज़ो वघाइंदो देर न लाइंदो झूलेलाल पारे पुजाइंदो झूलेलाल पारे पुजाइंदो असांजो रहबरो ऐं रखपाल हेणनि जो हमराह असांजो रहबरो ऐं रखपाल छो त पारे पुजाइंदो झूलेलाल पारे पुजाइंदो झूलेलाल दुल्हा जे दर्जे कोईंदो दुल्हा जे दर्जे कोईंदो झूलणो तंहिंजा झोल भरींदो झूलण तंहिंजा झोल भरींदो आस रखी जो ईंदो सोई थींदो माला माल चओ आस रखी जो ईंदो सोई थींदो माला माल छो त पारे पुजाइंदो झूलेलाल पारे पुजाइंदो जोत जले जंहिंजी चौधारी जोत जले जंहिंजी चौधारी ओ दुख में दीदो सो दिलदारी जिंदल जहरिया महर मया जो मिलणो ना है मिसाल जिंदल जहरिया महर मया जो मिलणो ना है मिसाल छोता झूले लाल मुंहिंजो डेरो लाल पारे पुॼाईंदो अर्ज़ो वघाईंदो देर न लाईंदो झूलेलाल
Thank you so much, Jay, for sharing. So very, very true. We certainly need to talk to our children. And as you said, it should start at home. And we need to be proud of us being a Sindhi and belonging to Sindh, the land of the oldest Hindu civilization. So lastly, thodo galayo, vadhika galayo, par galayo zarur. It's so pleasing that the Sindhi writers are working together to let the flag flying. The lamp keeps lighting up. It was so, so wonderful to talk to you. And my special thanks again to yourself, Ramji, from all of us here at BHF Radio London, to be part of this show and helping us to create beautiful memories with you. We wish you all the best for your future writings, and a big thank you to all of the listeners across the globe for joining us, sharing us, and giving us so much love. Tamajo ghano ghano dhanyavad for joining us. Vari milanasi, same time, same day. Sindhi galayo, thodo galayo, vadhika galayo, para galayo zarur. Let's join in to preserve our indigenous language, our culture. Asanjo last tarano.